Kia ora koutou katoa, my name is Tiki Taane, and I am a musician, producer, and been making music for a long time now. I'm 39, been making music since I was 14, and I'm still here, so cheer. I've had a pretty extremely colourful life, I guess, just through music, and yeah, every day, especially these days, now that I'm a dad, my son is nearly 7, my stepdaughter's nearly 5. I'm doing a lot of reflection, I guess, on my whole kind of life's journey, and especially in the last 5 years, I've kind of gone, wow, I've been through quite a bit, and I'm actually still here, and I can actually function properly, you know what I mean? And so I'm pretty stoked to be alive and kicking, because there's been plenty of chances that, you know, that's not the case, you know. My first experience with drugs wasn't me taking drugs, it was actually my best friend. I was 11 and he was 12. I think he was in the lounge on the couch or something, and I thought he was asleep. You know, I mean, he's 11 years old and he's 12. It's kind of like, you know, wake up, time to go to school, you know, wake up. And I kind of like, he had this big ring around his mouth, and he had like a bag with just glue in it, you know, so he'd been huffing and stuff. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, we've got to get to school. So I'm kind of shaking this guy, you know, come on, man, wake up. And he's all bloodshot eyes and all, I ended up doing it within weeks later, you know. So the fact that I actually wanted to try it was just because he was going, just try it, bro, you know, just try it. And that's pretty much how everything has happened in my life of just trying drugs and alcohol, would be from someone just saying, try it, man, give it a go, try it, give it a go. And especially when, you know, when I got into marijuana, I started smoking marijuana at like 13. All the artists I was influenced by were all like drug-taking, wasted musicians, and that was my inspiration. I wanted to be like Jimi Hendrix, and I wanted to be like, you know, Led Zeppelin. Smoking pot and playing music was just all I wanted to do. My dad and my mum are amazing people. They kind of separated when I was like 9 years old. You know, I kind of got away with a lot more and kind of left my devices a lot more, became very independent very quickly. I kind of grew up really quickly. Of course, when you're like selling tinnies and selling that kind of stuff, you know, you sell to the kids in your classroom, and word gets around, you sell to the older kids. And then, of course, you start meeting other dudes who are like prospecting for gangs. And then eventually you start knocking around with full gang members. And then they take you under your wing a little bit and show you some more harder drugs like opiums. And so, yeah, I mean, like marijuana was basically the gateway for me to get into those harder drugs. And I guess by the time I was 15, yeah, I was doing all sorts of stuff, you know. So I was pretty much, you know what, I'm going to leave school. So I had this music thing going on, and then on the other hand, I had another foot in this kind of gang scene that started getting a lot more volatile. I saw some stuff and I was involved in some stuff that made me feel really bad. My conscience and my soul was just like, this is not cool, man. I need to step away from this world and focus on this, which is more the music side of things. And I was like, I need to make this work, and because it's the only thing I'm good at, it's the only thing I love, it's the only positive thing in my life. All of a sudden, music, by the time I was 18 years old, was just becoming actually a really viable business for me, and it was something that I started to think, wow, this could be something that could get me out of the city and eventually out of the country, which it eventually did when I joined a band called Salmon Dub. Of course, you know, that comes with that scene comes ecstasy and acid and mushrooms, and it just became one of those things that was like part of the job description of being a musician. So it was a good solid age of 13 to 30, 17 years of just taking drugs and partying and seeing the world and making music and having extremely amazing times, but also having extremely low times as well. And then what kind of shifted for me was when P started coming into the scene. I'll go to Christchurch, and do shows in Christchurch, festivals and stuff like that. And my mum would always be like, "Oh, why don't you come round for lunch on a Sunday," kind of thing, you know. And I'd be like, "Yeah, Mum, I'll be there at 1 p.m. kind of thing." And so many times, but I wouldn't turn up because I'd sort of say, oh, I'm really tired, you know, but actually I've been up all fucking night since Thursday, and I'm a mess, and I know I'm a mess, and I can't go around and face my parents. It was starting to affect my relationship with friends and family who wanted to see me and catch up with me. When you start making up excuses and lies for that, that's when things are pretty bad, you know. And I kind of reverted going back to the gang lifestyle because the gangs controlled the P and they controlled the drugs. You know, spiritually, emotionally, consciously, I started to slip back into this kind of scene, you know. It was taking its toll, and my music started suffering and my relationship with the band started suffering. Kind of got to a point where I was making some dumbass decisions, and I justified in my head because it was all, you know, at the time you're high as fuck, and you kind of, well, you know, hey man, I'm a rock and roll, you know, I'm a rock and roller. This is what you do, you know, it's all good, you know, it's like Jimi Hendrix does it and everyone else does it, you know, that's kind of, so you kind of justify it, but really, you know, that's not me, and deep down inside it was hurting me and my mana, and I knew that it was wrong and it was fucked up, but when you're on that train, you're on that roller coaster and you're deep inside it, everything just seems, because everyone else is doing crazy shit, you just kind of go, it's kind of the norm, you know. It wasn't until I was like 29 when things got really bad and I started to just question everything, and I could see that I was burning out. And so I had to make the decision and say to my bandmates, I'm like, I've got to stop this. I've got to get off this roller coaster now. I'm not enjoying this anymore. I need to go away. I need to get away from these people and these things and stuff like that and these triggers. I need to get away. So a really, really, really good friend of mine at the time was like, he could see this was going on and he could see that I was struggling. And he could see that I needed help, so he just basically just went, grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and went, come with me. And he took me into the forest in the middle of nowhere, and I lived there for easily 6 to 8 months. Every single night, after stopping this stuff, drugs and alcohol, I was crying every single night, crying myself to sleep like a big baby, you know, and I remember just thinking to myself, like, just going, when am I gonna feel normal? I just want to feel fucking normal. I'm so depressed and sad, and everything is just, I've lost my girlfriend, I lost my band, I'm broken, all this stuff, you know what I mean? It was just, but I look back now and that was just part of the whole process of just shedding all that stuff and becoming clearer and getting back to me. And in that process, I made a record, and the record was called Past, Present, Future, right? And that record, that album was just me just going, just this, like, purging all this stuff out. Just started rebranding myself and stepping out as Tiki Taane, the solo artist, which I am now today. Yeah. Just, you know, I'm not even thinking about myself, I'm just thinking about all the people I've sort of hurt over the years, you know, family and stuff like that. Friends I've lost and shit. It's a fucking crazy journey. This, to kind of get yourself back and putting the pieces back together. It's an everyday thing, you know. I mean, like, look at me now, you know, like just holding it together. So, but it's just a reminder that it's an everyday thing. I just want to be that someone who can kind of be straight up with youth and kind of tell them the truth about my life anyway. So I'm not going to say don't do this and don't do that. All I'm going to say is just be really, really careful. You know, if you're going to go down that path, then just you know, like, just be really conscious about the fact that what makes you, you know, that old saying, what goes up must come down. And there are repercussions and repercussions to your health and your mental health and your spiritual health and your chemical makeup of your whole body, etc., if you start going down that path, you know what I mean? And just having that education and having that ability to be able to talk about it honestly and without judgment, I think is a very important thing. Yeah.